Welcome to the Startup Grind.
Brands are more important than products. If you have a great brand, you can introduce lots of products. You can have products have a life cycle and continue to build your brand. Are they worth any money? You know, is there a financial value to you, your company, around brands? You know, for one thing, 75% of consumers will pay 20% more for a brand they like. 50% of them will pay 25% more, 40, 30, and even 25% of consumers don't care what the price is as long as they buy a brand. That's huge. So if you're comparing products and you have somebody that's willing to pay a lot more just because of the brand, it's an extreme value. It's measured by a number of methodologies, but Interbrand and Business Week have an annual top global brands. And the Coke brand is worth $120 billion, but $50 billion of that is this intangible thing called the Coke brand. Very valuable. Each year, as I said, Business Week does this. It kind of studies, evaluates all the world's top brands, and 100 of them, with little profiles. They do it also in Europe. Millard Brown does this. A little bit different, but many of the same brands appear at the top. IBM, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, etc. But if you want to go into, there's in-depth studies and rankings and how they do this and methodologies. Those come up and down. There can be, like Nissan can drop down because of quality issues and failures. Other products rise and fall. And many of these, as I said earlier, are very old brands that have been around for decades, if not longer. Other ways are the idea of measuring. There's another one called Socratic, kind of measures brand power. They try and track the fall off from your awareness. And people have an awareness and consideration to their preference to actually purchasing. EA's won this award a couple times, but although our awareness is lower than, say, Microsoft or Sony or Atari or Activision stuff, we have higher brand power because we lose less of that. So you can be really aware of Atari, but nobody's planning to buy anything from it. So it's not just about awareness. Like, remember the .com thing where everybody's aware of things really fast? You can make everybody aware of something really fast. But to have that, to keep that intent to purchase the same. Other ways, this is Landor's Brand Asset Evaluator. I think there's 55 brands around 100 countries with 16,000 consumers over 17 years or something, measuring attributes. So there's a lot of tools to measure things. Another European brand trying to measure how consumers feel. This idea of a cool brand and has attributes of being stylish and original and innovative. NIA's won that award several times. But there's different ways to manage or measure brands, from revenues to a number of methodologies. I think there's been about 30 of them or more introduced in the last 20, 30 years. And it's really important to employees. So this is a study that Interbrand did. I think it's 25,000 people actually in the UK, I believe. But it was around this idea of an employee's feeling pride about what you do. It has a lot to do with your values and what you stand for, or your brand. And if you can raise that a little bit, like say 5%, in a company of 10,000, that's worth $2.5 million. So the brand's really valuable in multiple ways. And in the consumer culture, which I'd argue we're very much in, people no longer consume merely for the functional satisfaction, but it becomes meaning-based. And a lot of this writing is around the fact that many cultures around the world are less and less about old touchstones, and it's more and more about consumer consumption. Brands become extremely important, and people begin are drawn to the meaning.